An AI just built a multiplayer app, ran code on its own, and is about to live inside your computer, and this is Google quietly changing how everything gets built. You're not looking at a feature update. You're looking at a power shift. Because right now, Google is attacking 3 layers at once: how apps are created, how AI is used, and where it lives. And if they pull this off, developers, creators, even entire workflows start getting replaced by something way faster. Let's start with the most dangerous piece, Google AI Studio. A few months ago, AI app builders were basically toys. You type a prompt, get a pretty UI, click a button, and it breaks. Cool demo, useless product. That's been the pattern. Google just broke that pattern. They introduced a new coding agent called Antigravity, and the name is not subtle. The idea is simple. Instead of your app falling apart after a few interactions, it actually holds together. But here's the real hook: this thing doesn't just build pages, it builds systems. We're talking real-time multiplayer apps, shared environments, tools where multiple users interact live at the same time. And if you've ever built anything like that, you already know this is where complexity explodes. You need sensing, you need state management, you need a backend that doesn't crash when 2 users click at once. This is exactly where AI used to fail. So what did Google do? They gave the agent backend awareness. Now it can detect when your app needs a database and just set it up. It can plug into Firebase, create a Cloud Firestore instance, and wire authentication with Google Sign-in without you touching anything. Stop for a second and think about that. The AI is not just writing code anymore. It's making architectural decisions. And here's the rehook: if an AI can decide when your app needs infrastructure, what exactly is left for you to decide? Now it gets sharper, because functionality was never the only problem. Most AI-generated apps look like they were built in 2009, technically working, visually painful. Google fixed that too. The agent can now pull in modern UI systems, animation frameworks, clean component libraries on its own. It understands when something looks bad and upgrades it. That means we're moving from AI builds something to AI builds something people actually want to use. And that gap, that used to be the entire industry. Now here's where things turn serious. AI Studio can now connect to external services using your own API keys, payments, maps, databases, anything. And instead of exposing those keys everywhere, it stores them in a built-in secrets manager. This is not a toy feature. This is production-level behavior. So let's recap the situation, because this is the moment most people underestimate. The AI can build your front end. It can set up your back end. It can integrate real-world services, and it can secure them. That's not assistance. That's replacement-level capability. And we're not done. Google also fixed one of the most frustrating problems in AI tools memory. Before, you'd build something, come back later, and the AI forgets everything. You're basically starting from zero every time. Now, your project persists. The agent remembers context, decisions, structure. It doesn't just respond, it continues. That's a completely different experience. And then Google adds Next.js support out of the box, one of the most widely used production frameworks today. This is the rehook you shouldn't ignore. They are not targeting beginners anymore. They are targeting real software development. To prove it, Google showcased a multiplayer first-person laser tag game generated from a single prompt. Yes, it's flashy. Yes, it's a demo. But demos show direction. And the direction is clear. AI Studio is becoming a software factory. Now pause, because the next move is even bigger. Google is reportedly building a native Gemini app for macOS. At first glance, that sounds normal. It's not, because right now, Gemini is just a tab. Something you visit, something you close. A native app changes the psychology completely. It becomes something that lives on your machine. Something always one click away. Something that integrates into your daily workflow. And here's the hook. Once AI lives on your desktop, expectations change. You don't just ask it questions anymore. You expect it to do things. Open files, search your system, organize your work, automate tasks you repeat every day. That's not a chatbot. That's an operating layer. Now connect that to something even bigger. Apple and Google recently announced an AI partnership. At the time, it sounded like corporate PR, abstract, distant, but now, if Gemini becomes a native Mac app and potentially integrates deeper into Apple's ecosystem, this turns into something very real. Because Apple doesn't usually share control. If Google's AI starts touching Siri, Apple Intelligence, core apps like Calendar or Photos, then Google isn't outside the system anymore. It's inside it. And here's the rehook that should make you uncomfortable. If the AI inside your device isn't built by the company that made your device, who's really in control? Now let's move to the most underrated update, the one almost nobody is talking about. Google released the Colab MCP server, and this quietly changes how AI interacts with code forever. Before this, your workflow looked like this. Ask AI gives copy code, gives paste, gives run, gives error, gives go back, gives repeat, slow, manual, frustrating. Now, the AI does the entire loop. Using something called Model Context Protocol, the agent can directly interact with Google Colab. It can create notebooks, write Python code, execute it, debug errors, install packages, and continue the workflow all on its own. Let that sink in. You are no longer the one running the code, the AI is. And here's the technical twist that makes this even smarter. The agent runs locally on your machine, but the heavy computation runs in the cloud. So you get control and power at the same time. Now imagine this. You upload a dataset and say, build me a regression model and visualize the results. The AI doesn't explain how to do it. It just does it, end to end. That's not help. That's delegation. So step back and look at the full picture. Google didn't release features. They connected a system. AI builds your app. AI runs your code. AI lives on your device. And once those three connect, you don't just use AI, you work inside it. Now here's the final question, the one that actually matters. Does Apple let Google go deeper? Because if Gemini becomes embedded into Apple's ecosystem, this stops being a competition and starts becoming a takeover, quiet, invisible, and incredibly effective. And the craziest part, most people won't even notice it happening until one day they realize they're not building things anymore. They're just asking for them. And that's when everything changes.